I just love snapdragons. Look at those colors. Welcome to Frugal Family Gardens. I am Julie, and this week, and for the foreseeable future, until the state says otherwise, here in Utah, we are watering to survive, not to thrive. And that can be very tricky and very frustrating as a gardener. I'm sure you can imagine. More exciting news here on the front porch. A shade plant that I had pulled from the shade garden when I was moving the shade garden. It had died off in this pot, but guess what? It's coming back. And if you want to know what it looks like, there you go. There's more of it right there. That one took well from the beginning, but this one didn't. But she's coming back. I love when stuff like this happens. We have a lily right about to pop with glorious fiery colors. Oh yes. And then look over here, this, I think it's called Scarlet Morning Glory. Yeah, I don't mind if this stuff takes over. Now the bindweed that we colloquially call Morning Glory, that's a different story. Look at me rhyming, it's the heat. This is gorgeous. Soon, all of these little blooms will pop open into just the most fabulous, rich, radiant, delicious scarlet blooms. Stay tuned. I will show you. Being a gardener during a drought, a severe drought, it's tricky stuff. It's tricky stuff. So some things that I have decided, I don't want that to look like it's coming right out of my head. Just a sec. There we go. That'll do. So I had plans that I mentioned just the other day about rose bushes that I was going to add and different things because I had made some gains on the stock market and I wanted to splurge a little bit and get a couple of perennials and a couple rose bushes, different things. I don't think that's what we're going to do. I don't think it's a good idea where we are stuck in a drought that is like record-breaking severe drought, and we've been advised to water, like I was saying, water to survive, not to thrive. And I can't in good conscience go and add more plants that need more water, which sucks because I'm a gardener. I'm a gardener. Yes, I could add like drought tolerant plants and things like that, but those aren't the ones that I want. And when it comes to gardening, I want plants out there that I want. Yes, I'll also be responsible. I do have a lot of drought tolerant plants throughout my yard, but when it comes to a splurge and using some of my profits, I want to get the plants that I want. I think you can understand that. So better to hold off, just hold off until I feel comfortable with getting those and putting them in, and don't feel like I'm being irresponsible by putting them in, you know, what with our drought situation. So we're going to hold off on that a little bit. This fall, hopefully I will be able to put those kinds of things in and maybe things will improve. I mean, I doubt it, but it'll be easier and require less water if I put them in this fall than to put them in now in the middle of summer. Well, this isn't the middle of summer, but now that we're, you know, just barely cracking through a heat wave and now just going to be going through regular kind of summertime temperatures, this would just not be the right or responsible time to put those plants in. It would require a lot of water and a lot of effort and tender loving care to get those plants to get established. So it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. So crossing that off the list and then also making some difficult choices. Now, the plants out here in the Laughing Place Garden, and yes, I will be doing a full yard tour. Thank you for the fabulous suggestion. I believe it was Julie N. that asked for the garden tour. If I'm wrong, my apologies, but I will be doing a garden tour, or was it Heather? Whoever it was, you're wonderful. Thank you for a fabulous suggestion. I will be doing that, but not today. So, but stay tuned. So I'm gonna be making tough choices. Here out on this patio, which is the Laughing Place Garden, I do have to water every morning. And I need to get out and do it earlier. I was really busy this morning and had other things that I was doing, plus I also slept in. And so by the time I got out here to water, they were already struggling and suffering, even with the heat wave having broken. Now, I water them every morning. Normally, when we're not in this kind of just an extreme drought, I would water them morning and night. Not going to do that. How am I going to make up for that? Well, I'm going to feed them more often. You guys know I am not any kind of professional gardener. Everything that I know, it's been trial and error and research and watching, Monty Don and other, gardening programs. So I just have to try and figure it out as I go. And a lot of times I mess up, and then other times I'm successful. But I always try to learn from what I'm doing. And so my next experiment, because all of this is an experiment, I'm going to try feeding them more often to help make up for the lack of water. Is that possible? I don't know. Will it work? I don't know. The other thing I'm going to do is bring out a bunch of my like beach umbrellas and shade them, because we get so much direct sun out here in the Laughing Place, and the house is white and the fences are white. And so it just, and so much concrete. The sun, it bakes. It just bakes everything out here. Having the plants helps to reduce that a little bit. And then of course I painted the fence over there all colorful, and that helps reduce it a little. But at the end of the day, and having this out definitely helps, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of very harsh direct sun and they need water. But I can't be watering them twice a day in good conscience, trying to do my part in this terrible drought that we are in. So I'm going to try with these other measures, putting up the umbrellas, keeping the canopy up, and then feeding them more regularly, which I've never before this year been very good at, but I have definitely been making more of an attempt this year to feed my plants, especially potted plants, more regularly. So let's hope that will make a difference. Other areas, the front yard, normally I would love to water that every day. We can't do that. Now, things that are in pots, I will give them water every day because I have to, okay? But the rest of it, So what I'm working on right now is every third day, just 20 to 25 minutes per section, and seeing how that goes. And then out in the Wonderland, it's more like every third day I do a rotation, because I don't have sprinklers out there, like set-in sprinklers. So I'll move my hose and sprinkler around to basically 3 different sections, and each section will get 2 to 3 hours of a very deep soak, and we'll only get that every 3-4 days max, and see how that goes. It's not ideal where a lot of what is growing out there is fruit. It ideally does need more water than that, especially in the heat and when you're trying to get good sweet fruit, but we're in a drought and I can only do the best that I can do. The other thing I'm going to do is thin out the fruit even more so that it's requiring less water, less energy to grow and to maintain, so that it's not having to put so much into so many fruits, but can put more into just staying alive and spreading its roots to, for the different trees and bushes and things like that. If you guys happen to have suggestions, tips, if you live in drought prone places or have lived through droughts as a gardener and a fruit grower, I would love to hear, helpful tips and things that have worked for you in the past. Did you try shading? Does extra feeding help them? What is kind of your water rotation and your plan? I do also use soaker hoses and things like that, especially along the side of my driveway where my lilacs are. In fact, I'm going to go hook up that soaker hose. So that will go for probably 24 hours, and it only gets it once every week and a half. Yeah. The lilacs I have found are pretty darn hardy. They are pretty drought tolerant, and I'm so grateful for that, especially here, but they are looking very droopy. Hoping though that I can get them to stay alive. They're pretty well established. They're I think 4 or 5 years old now, but I would like them. I'm not worried about them thriving. As we were saying, not worried about them thriving right now, but I would like them to stay alive and be able to, go on into the next year, and hopefully having a 24-hour soaker hose on them every week and a half. Hopefully that'll be enough. Tips and suggestions that you guys have, please tell me in the comments. Let's show you some other stuff. Okay, got my hose. This one is actually like 3 hoses connected together. We're gonna go set this up over here. You can see right here, I've got my soaker hose, and it goes through this mess of grass and weeds to my lilacs over there. Mini roses. Who knew that those little tiny mini rose plants that you get in the like flower section at the grocery store can turn into this? Oh, I love them. So the soaker hose is hooked up, and these lilacs will be looking much happier. The rest of this mess that's with them, I'm not worrying about it right now. No can do. For one, it's about 95 degrees right now, and it's gonna get hotter. It's too late today to do anything about it. And will I even get to it before this fall? No promises, no guarantees. It's just not a top priority. The priority, rather, is just to keep the lilacs alive until I can get around to cleaning this area. So I've had loads of the seeds that we planted, that we sowed a couple months ago. I've had several of those popping up, and something I'm learning is that I am definitely planting too many in one place. Last year I planted them each like individually in little cups in the house, and then did grow lights and all of that, but so many of them didn't work out that it just seemed like kind of a waste of time and energy. So this year I just kind of sprinkled them into pots, but now what we're running into is that they desperately need thinning, and the problem is it's very hot, so you've got to get out at like 0 in the morning to have even a hope of being successful in thinning these seedlings. Let me show you. Right here, the chamomile, and I've already taken out, probably 6 little seedlings. Look, these ones are getting ready to bloom. How exciting! I want to get this down to like 4 really good, strong, healthy plants, but guys, there's so many, and then there's also a whole bunch of like snapdragons and other plants in here. What I need to do, not tomorrow, but the next morning, I'm going to try and get out here and look at this. Seriously, look at all of these individual little plants. I'm gonna dig up clumps of them and divide the clumps and put them into their own little pots in the house with lots of good water, keeping the soil moist, and just, yeah, get them established and comfortable in the house, then move them to the front porch into the shaded area, and then eventually, hopefully, be able to move them out here, but I don't know. We'll see. Look at these cilantro blooms. Yeah. I'm going to have to move my cilantro, or just do it in a different spot next year, because where it's with these other plants, it just didn't get enough sun, and so it bolted and flowered. But they're so beautiful, I don't have the heart to do anything about it other than let them be beautiful.